Hi, I'm Judy Lehman, and I moved here 6 years ago from Harrisburg Church, and we'd already been UUs for about 8 years, and so it was just like a fish getting back into water. We were really welcomed at this church, and I come to this church because I love the community. And one of the first jobs I got was that Barbara Childs had decided to leave, and they went into search, and I'd just been on a search committee in Harrisburg, so I got to be chair of the search committee here, and it was so much fun. I knew how much fun it was going to be because the other search committee was. Anyway, it really got me to know everybody at church, and as soon as we were so successful and got Marjorie to come here, then somebody looked at me and said, well, what are you going to do next year, Judy? And they said, we have a need, we're going to have our 50th anniversary, and would you please be the overall chair? And I said, sure, but guess what? I can't do it all. And so I got lots of people to help me, and I was out of town traveling, and all of a sudden, I wasn't here. And so I needed a co-chair. That was Diana Stevens.
Yes, and she has a very interesting way of getting people to help her work, and and we all tease her about it. But we do. We enjoy being on her committees. We enjoy working with her, and it's a wonderful opportunity to help the church.
I'm Marla Fraser, and I've been coming here since the mid-1970s. I first came here when we were all meeting in the old dome. In the small dome, and many Sundays there were so many of us that we sat on pillows on the floor, crowded in and out the doors, quite crowded. And I've been heavily involved in, especially buildings has been my interest. I was one of the committee of 5 that was responsible for getting the new building, the big dome up, and helping to buy the additional 5 acres of the property. And I've been coming here since the mid-70s. I joined in the mid-80s while Mike Young was here. And the reason that I joined and the reason that I come here is the sense of community of the church. That I've lived in many places where I sure felt like an outsider and all alone, and that there was no one who I could even talk to about my beliefs, and here I just feel total acceptance, and I know that I have a huge circle of friends and people of equal social conscience and as well as religious conscience.
Bobby and I first learned about Unitarianism when we helped to start a Unitarian fellowship in Manhattan, Kansas. So then that was back in the 1950s. And when we moved to Tampa in the 1960s, of course, we looked up and joined the Unitarian church that was down on Concordia with Dick Woodman as the minister.
What I remember most about the church down there was the people, Bill and Hazel Absuri and Ada
Villable.
Ada Villable and Chicky Freeman, who was a marvelous person, who was a sculptor, and so we helped sponsor her sculpting of Albert Schweitzer, and it turned out very nicely. I just don't know where it is now.
Very good. Did you have anything else to add?
The thing I like about this church is that humanists are welcome here. And I've been participating in the secular humanist, atheist, agnostic group led very capably by Bill Bly-Miller and Tom Hagner.
Great. Very good. Did y'all have anything else you want to say?
Well, just that some of the other people were Bill and Hazel Absuri and Joanne and Bob Concert and was there somebody else we wanted to mention? I forget.
Heinz and Eddie Eichhorn.
Oh, yeah, they belonged then, too.
Very good. Okay, thank you all very much.
Hi, I'm Tom Copley, and I've been coming here to the church since the early 80s. I can't remember exactly when. I haven't been a member that long. Probably since the late 80s I've been a member, but I've always enjoyed coming over here, even though I live in Pinellas County. It's a wonderful place to come and learn, to express your feelings, and I don't have to subscribe to any particular creed or any particular belief. I can kind of do my own thing, and if I don't feel like coming for a month or so, then that's fine. I don't have to do that. And I enjoy the people here especially. We have social events, we have some camping trips, we have a dance in the spring on Valentine's Day, and I would encourage anyone who's searching to try the UU Church of Tampa here. To me, it's home, and I always enjoy coming home.
My name is Gwen Anderson, and I've been coming to the UUCT for about 25 years. And I think what I find here is the community of people who are interested in searching for spiritual and other kinds of truths. And I've never found another place that does that, so I'm still coming, and that's why I'm doing this interview.
Hi, my name's Granford Wilson. I joined here at the church in 1989. I brought my daughter Jenny, and we actually came here to protect my daughter from my Southern Baptist family, and they left her alone as soon as we joined the church. But I was attracted by Mike Young, and he was so interesting to me, and he broadened my concept of spirituality. Mike let me see that spirituality wasn't centered around God, but spirituality was in everything that I did in my life, in conservation, in politics, in absolutely everything. And my daughter was helped by the young people here, and they helped her out a lot as she entered her teen years, and she had the UU equivalent of a coming out party with her and her friend Siobhan. Then I got really involved with the church and served on the board of directors, board of trustees for I believe I've been 3 times now, and I'm now on the committee on ministry. The most important thing for me was Diana and I met here, and we're married by one of the ministers, Jim McKinley. And the church has met, well, it's our main source of spirituality, entertainment, and friendships, isn't it?
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Diana Stevens. I came here in 1989 when I started attending the National Organization for Women meetings. They were held here. I hadn't really been a church member or a church goer the majority of my life. I found that the people here at this church were very interesting. They believed in many of the same things that I did. I did not believe that you needed to believe in God or Christ to be a good person. And the whole attitude of the church confirmed that for me. And I had brought my son here to start attending church, and that drew me further into the church. I began teaching Sunday school or religious education. And then I've done many different things, and currently I'm on the board. And I'm in charge of the communications of the church. I organize other people to do the actual work, which I like doing that type of thing. And as my husband said, the best thing was meeting him here. So I enjoy this church very much.
Good morning. I'm Fran Davin, a member of this church, a formal member of the church since 1995, but I'm a lifetime Unitarian. Was active in the Unitarian Church in Santa Monica, California, before coming here. I have served in a number of capacities in this congregation. I was on the board, I was the finance chairman, and I'm currently heading up the membership team and chairing the Justice Task Force. This is a wonderful, warm, caring community, and it's wonderful to be a part of it.
See, I have been coming here since, we happened to look it up this morning, since I was convening, since September 14th, 2000.
And your name?
Harriet Blymiller. And we looked it up because I was convening and I had a certain kind of thing for convening, which I dropped when I saw Diana Stevens was here. But the church, one of the things I like is it's not far from my home. That is a tremendous, tremendous, wonderful piece of luck, fate, convenience, whatever you want to call it. The other thing I like is what Wes Stevens talked about this morning, the freedom of thought, of using one's intelligence, of making up one's own mythology, which is something that the poet William Blake called for. He said you have to make your own mythology or be a slave to another man's.
Actually, would you say also you're making your own theology?
No, because I'm not sure there's a God.
But
so
I'm using theology loosely, but yes,
well,
you're
very
right.
loosely,
Yes.
and I do prefer at this point the word mythology,
Okay, very
because
good.
it is an explanation for how things came to be as they are, and,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing it. And if you want to include theology and evolution and a lot of things in there, I'd be happy to include those.
So I guess you like Joseph Campbell?
I like what?
Joseph Campbell, who's
Oh,
wrote about
yes, of
mythology?
course. Yes, very much influenced by Joseph Campbell, and I was highly insulted when he went ahead and died after I had just discovered him.
Alan Watts?
Not
No?
so much, but yeah. Yeah, and I do tend towards Buddhist beliefs.
Do you?
Quite a lot.
This church? This church in particular? Anything?
This church in particular. Well, I love the congregation. They are very intelligent people. Many of them are connected with the university, and I work at the university as well. But it's so large that I would never have gotten to know them had I not been coming here. And I like the variety of people. And to go to another level, I like the fact that you don't have to dress up to come here and sort of pretend to be something for God on Sunday that you are actually not.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Goldstein. My wife and I were married in this church by Mike Young. I have really incredibly fond memories of Mike and realizing that there was a place where I could worship, where I could nourish my own spiritual life without any sorts of feelings of resistance or dogma, and where the environment, the feeling of the people in the church, and everything was about acceptance, embracing diversity, and just loving the process of being alive, the whole spiritual process. Being alive, for me, it's come to the realization that all of life is a process of spiritual awakening on a daily basis, over and over again, and also on an ongoing basis. Not necessarily a linear thing, but being able to come once a week and be involved in a group of people in a church that supports this kind of journey is truly a gift. I've been able to share my music here for quite a long time, and even when my solo music was still somewhat crude, this group of people, this sanctuary really valued my contribution, and that love, that support that I got from this congregation helped me to grow and to have the confidence to become the musician that I am and that I continue to become. And the music has become very much intertwined with my spiritual path. And my yoga practice and the music and this place is all very synergistic. So I continue to just thrive here and to be able to share more and more music and more of my heart and soul and appreciation with this congregation. So I'm very grateful. My wife and I we're just very grateful for the Unitarian Church and for this specific group and family of people.
My name is Joe Weinstein. I've been a member here a little over 2 years. I found Unitarian Universalism in Orlando back in '94. I really enjoy this church as a community where I feel at home and at peace as a gay man, and have been able to do my work to build my own theology and undo my religious past and find voice and expression in the world. So it's a really wonderful place for me to be.
This is my first time here at the Tampa UU Church. I went to a Unitarian church in Lake County, it's in a town called Eustis. Decided to start coming back to UU's because the church that I used to, or the congregation that I used to go to, I was the only member in the 20s, and everyone else was 70 and above. So it was a much older congregation, and so it was really nice coming here and seeing, especially with the youth service going on, and getting to actually see the amount of children that were involved, whereas I didn't have that before at the last Unitarian congregation I went to. So this has been a very nice, change of pace for me.
My name is Candy Gayle, and I've been attending this Unitarian church for the past 14 years. I moved here the day before Hurricane Andrew hit Miami, and I was attending the Miami church at that time. This group of folk at the Tampa UU Church has really captured my imagination, and even though I've moved every 3 years since I was 18, I feel really dug in my heels here in Tampa, and mostly because of the people here at the church. They're just marvelous people. I find that this is a place where I can learn how to live my life. It's like a recipe. I don't follow recipes very well, but I find that this gives me some ideas that I can take off of and then plan my own meal around the pieces of recipe that I can find here. And I feel that it has really improved my life to have had this opportunity to be here.
Susie Siegel, and I've been attending this church since the fall of 2004 when I moved back to Tampa. I was a UU as a child, and I felt the need for community. And I still feel the need for community. And I was just talking to somebody about how do we fit into a community with so many differences. I have a special interest in feminism and disability rights, and I don't know how to get my thoughts over to the majority. I keep looking for ways to fit in better, or I suppose to get people to fit in better with me. I do not want to assimilate. I want to get my ideas over. And I don't know how that will work. I'm not sure where I fit yet.
I'm Lisa Rose, and of the three of us, I have been here the longest. I came here when I first arrived in Tampa 3.5 years ago, and I chose the church because I thought it was a healthy place for my daughter to grow up. And this is Tony. Hi.
And I'm Pam Latham. Hi.
And we met through our girls. They went to middle school together. And I guess Delaney got talking about the youth group to Latham and Kathleen, their daughters. And they wanted to come. And they brought their mothers, and I got to know their mothers, and now the six of us, I guess, are good friends.
We are.
Yeah, we go camping together. But let's talk about why the youth group is, or this community is so healthy for our girls and for us.
I just think I've found that it's a very safe place for our young adults to explore who they are and discuss their ideas. It's very non-judgmental for them and gives them the opportunity to figure out what is important to them and where their spiritual life is.
And I feel real similarly. I was raised in a very strict Catholic and Marine Corps household, yes. And raised very strictly, and it's nice that my daughter has that background, but that she is in a good, safe place and is able to explore and talk about how she feels about things and become more mature and go through that adolescent period and then become a young adult in a place where people appreciate her and where I don't have to be there every moment to supervise. It's a loving group of people where I feel like everyone feels good about her and will keep an eye on her along with us.
That was the first thing I noticed about the community when I came here. I came here without my daughter the first day, and I saw the teenage girls walking around in all their funky clothes, and you could see they felt great about themselves, and they were holding their heads up and interacting with adults without any shyness, and which was unusual for middle school-aged girls. And I thought immediately that I had to have my daughter here because she could go through all the convolutions of her search for herself in adolescence and feel good about who she was at every stage and not ashamed and not shy.
I think the congregation as a whole is very respectful and really validates the youth and supports the youth.
My name is Katie Kohlberg, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at the UUCT. I've been here for a couple of years, and before that I was a religious education teacher. I'm very excited about our religious education program. What we have to offer our children and youth in our community is life-saving. It has the impact to change the world. They're learning about all different religions, how to treat one another. They're guided by our UU principles. They're learning the different sources of our UU principles. It's a great thing to do. The kids are great. I love the youth. Our youth group is fabulous. They go to cons all over the district, and they give me a lot of satisfaction and love.
My name is Dan Miller. I have been at this church since 1991, and it's been a wonderful community for us. It's our family away from home. And I like it for its diversity and the fact that we welcome everyone. All beliefs are accepted. No beliefs are accepted. It's been a wonderful outlet for me to practice music. I'm an amateur musician, and I've been able to fill a little niche here for the music needs of the church, and I just take a great deal of pride and pleasure in doing it.
Well, I'm Susan Miller, and I came here in 1991 as well, at a time when I was really searching for some grounding and roots. I had been raised in a very patriarchal religious society back in Jacksonville, and was looking for something totally different. And through Women in Religion here at the UUCT, I was able to find my path to Wicca, and through this church's support was able to eventually come together and establish a CUPS chapter with the help of other people in this community. And it has been a wonderful site of growth, not only for individuals, but also for, I think, the community as a whole. I also enjoy playing or singing in the choir with Dan. That gives us a wonderful opportunity for us to share our spiritual needs together, even as diverse as they are, and gives us an opportunity to spend time with this wonderful, supportive community church.
I'm Kathy Crotty. I've been a member of this church since 1991. I am currently president of the Board of Trustees. What I like most about coming here is the community of friends who are supportive of each other and who work together.
Hi, I'm Bill Blymiller. I've come here for about 4 years. Worked in the background for a couple of years. My major tasks are to run the sound system and to try to get the lights working. I'm also one of the board of directors. I love coming here because all these people are just about as crazy as I am.
For our visitors, we close our service by standing and holding hands, and after I read the closing words, then we sing our traditional closing, which is printed on these placards on either side of the sanctuary. Let us join our hands and hearts as we remember these words from Indira Gandhi. You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. As you go forth into this next week, why not stretch out your hand to a friend, to a stranger, to one you'd like to get to know better, and in doing so, may each of you be blessed and go in peace.
Touch each other with gentle hands. Let your hearts embrace the universe. Oh, to each other what life shall last. Oh, my friends, hold on.
I thank all the individuals who contributed their comments and observations on the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa, without whom I could not have made the documentary.